stroke. Okay, again, you're reaching forward, catch, you're levering and pulling, and you're going to be pulling this back this way. Your hand is going to get back even about with the front of your body, and that's when you start the recovery. All right. And as you get in the water and try this, you'll find the natural point. It'll just feel right. All right. On the recovery, you can come through the air, right? And that's what most people do, and that's perfectly fine. There's a couple of things you can do on the recovery that can help you a little bit. One is to feather it through the air, which means instead of coming back like this, where you're moving air with the flat side of the paddle, all right, just turn the paddle like that, like a knife blade through the air, and then turn and come in. Okay? You can also do that without ever removing the paddle from the water. So you come back like this, all right, turn the paddle through the water, turn it, and go like that again. That is a very quiet way to paddle. So if you're trying to watch wildlife, like if you find a moose on the bank and you want to get closer to him so you can see it a little bit better, you recover in the water. There's no splash. You're very, very quiet. You can sneak right up on it.
Why would you want to sneak up on a moose?
Too close to a moose.
Yes. No. You don't want to get too close to it, but you may want to get close to get a really good picture of it.
There's also the chance that you're pedaling along the shore and the boulder you are going around stands up and becomes a moose. And in that case, you want to be quiet and back away slowly.
Or quickly, depending on how the moose is acting.
Or quickly.
All right, let's. I talked a couple minutes ago about cadence. All right. Now it's the bow paddler who sets the cadence. Now the stern paddler has to do some steering. And when the stern paddler is doing that steering, it takes a little bit of time. So it's important that the cadence of the stroke allows time for the guy in the back to steer. So a good cadence.
Can we see you and Andrew, like actually trying the cadence thing?
Sure. Well, let me be bow so I can describe it. Andrew, you're going to be in the back. We'll just stand on the side of it like that. So the cadence that the bow sets is going to be something like the catch is 1, all right? Come back until your paddle is about where the grip hand is above the shaft hand is 2. Come back here to where the shaft hand is behind the grip hand is 3. All right, now you start to recover, and 4 is moving forward. 1 is the catch. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Music.
Right? Now, what Andy is doing in the back, were you J-stroking?
Yes.
All right. So Andy is doing a steering stroke in the back, which on this side would look something like this. I'll go into this in a little bit more detail. All right, he pushes back like this. When he gets to this point, he is going to rotate the power face of the paddle outward and sweep with it a little bit. That brings, when it's done on the left side, that brings the bow of the canoe a little bit to the left. If he J-strokes on the right side, brings the bow of the canoe a little bit to the right. That's how you steer a canoe. But he's doing that J-stroking while the bow is going, and that's that pause that you're doing with that and. It's giving him time to J-stroke and correct. And then coming forward 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. When you get in the canoe with your partner, yes, Jamie.
So Andrew's like switching sides. Is the person in the back always going to be switching sides to make sure we go straight, or?
The easiest way to go straight in a canoe is for the bow person and the stern person to paddle on opposite sides.
Okay, even though he's like doing the stroke thing?
Yes. Well, paddling on opposite sides, you'll just have to do a J-stroke every, 4 different strokes?
3, 4 strokes, something like that. This guy is so strong that when I paddle with him, and he's in the bow and I'm in the stern, I have to J-stroke a lot because his strokes are boom, and the canoe just goes whoa, off to one side, and I got to correct for that. All right, and that's not uncommon to have, you know, paddlers of different strengths in the bow and the stern.
And here I wanted someone super strong in the front, but clearly that's not going to work.
Well, it's
You gotta have someone like a little bit more like
you need to know what you're
power.
doing. You need to know what you're doing to steer it in the rear, but it's not hard work.
Oh,
So
okay.
if you've got a
Then
good
we're
strong,
We're
you got a
getting
good
Andrew.
strong paddler in the front. All right, you can make really good progress, and then the person in the back just has to do that steering thing to compensate for the strength of the bow paddler. Because if Andy's up here in the bow and he's going like this, all right, the canoe is going to veer to the side that he's paddling on. All right, so then I'm in the back paddling on the other side, and I'm doing that J-stroke thing to pull the bow back to the right every time he strokes, because he's just so strong. Alrighty, so that's cadence and the forward stroke. The back stroke is almost identical to the forward stroke, except you're doing it backwards. All right. So if I call for the back stroke, you're going to go catch behind you, lever it like this, and then recover. Now, generally speaking, you're not paddling a long distance going backwards, so cadence doesn't matter. It's a good thing if the stern and the bow paddle the same way, but it's easy for the person in the stern just to watch the bow person and kind of stay in with them, because you're not really steering on a backstroke, you're just moving backwards. Okay? Forward stroke, backstroke, both the bow and the stern paddlers do those. All right. The steering strokes, however, are strictly for the stern paddler. And the most common steering stroke is the J stroke. And you saw Andrew do that, and you saw me illustrate it a little bit. It's essentially a forward stroke. All right. We'll do the forward stroke up to about here. Now when I get here, I'm going to, and if it helps, extend your thumb. Push the thumb away from the body, because that turns the paddle in the right direction, and then sweep it. So when you do it on your left-hand side, you're actually making the letter J. Okay?
Parallel.
If you do it on the right-hand side, it's a mirror opposite of the letter J.
Oh. Wait, really?
Sort of perpendicular, like the letter J. Like the J.
Oh,
And
okay.
remember, you want to hold the shaft almost straight off to your side, not
the letter
bent
J.
across
Thank
your body.
you.
Otherwise, you're dragging on the
As you're
canoe. So
recovering,
yeah,
you're
like
gonna
that.
come up and then back this way.
Ah, that
Okay.
makes sense now.
These are
So-
really not
Got it.
great.
That's
These are
the
not
J stroke.
sweet at all.
There's a variant called the Canadian J, and the only thing about that is that you keep the paddle in your water. All right? So you rotate it out, keep the paddle in the water.
And I have trail
Thank you for the grapes.
All right? So that's a quiet way to do a J stroke. It's really the only difference. You keep the paddle in the water for the recovery.
Thank you.
All right.
Try and
Yeah.
draw.
In a moment. There's one other steering stroke. It's sometimes called the superior stroke, or it's just a rudder stroke. All right. Don't be afraid to use it, especially if you're new to canoeing. The one thing I would say to you is that if you're doing a rudder stroke, understand that it takes longer to rudder than it does to J stroke. So tell the person in the bow to slow down the cadence.
That
Because
explains so
otherwise,
much.
what happens is you're so far out of cadence with the person in the bow while you're ruddering that you basically just skip a stroke. So now the person in the bow is doing much more work, and you're just doing every other stroke doing a rudder. All right, and so all the rudder is, it's a forward stroke back here. When I get the rudder back here beside my body, I turn the paddle. You can turn it either way, doesn't make any difference. All right, to go left, put the paddle in like this. To go right, I do this, and I keep the blade in the water.
Sounds like breaking.
It does break you, it does slow you down a little bit, but what it also does, show you back here on the stern of the thing is, all
You'll
right,
give
if I'm
up the
ruddering
tail?
on this side and I go like this, I'm pushing the stern of the canoe this way, which makes the bow go to the left. If I rudder like this, I'm pushing it the other way.
Andrew.
So it's kind of the opposite of what you think. If I think, you know, I'm going
Like
to push it
driving.
this way, I'm going this way. No. If I push it this way, I'm going that way. If I pull it this way, I'm going that way.
Right.
So
Or direct.
point the end in the direction you want them.
Right. And like I said, it takes longer to rudder. So tell the bow, hey, I'm ruddering. And when the bow hears that, you go 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Like that. Give the person extra time to do that.
So
Not
two
that
strokes
quick.
will take longer than a turn.
Yep. Okay, any questions so far? That pretty much covers going forwards, going backwards, and steering, all right? When you are coming away from a portage landing or trying to get close to one, sometimes you need to make the canoe go sideways, all right? And it sounds a little odd. The first time you do it, it might feel a little odd because instead of moving with the length of the canoe, you're going to be doing something off to the side and you might feel a little tippy. Okay? So when you're practicing it, take your first couple practices with these next strokes slowly and carefully until you feel your balance in the canoe. All right. The first stroke is called the pry stroke. And the pry stroke, the catch phase of the pry stroke, is really positioning your hand in the paddle. What you're going to do is hook your thumb inside the gunnel, all right? Your 3 fingers outside the gunnel, and then the index finger goes around the shaft of the paddle. Now I'm going to turn this around.
There's plain water
Alright.
in there too.
So imagine that this is the grip and the blade is down in the water, all right? So I'm going to hold it like this, vertical, down here, and I'm going to pry the blade of the paddle out. That pushes the canoe this way. All right? So if I do like this, pry, turn it, still in the water, pry, turn it, pry. And that pushes the canoe out. Now, if I pry on the left in the bow, and my stern paddler is prying on the right in the stern, what does the canoe do?
Spin.
It goes in circles. It can spin right around. So you can actually do a 180 in a canoe without taking any more distance than the length of the canoe to do it.
Nice.
All right. All right. The other stroke for moving sideways is called the draw. And again, you can do the pry on either side. All right. And the person in the stern may call pry right or pry left to tell you which side to do it on. The draw stroke is just like a forward stroke in terms of the catch and the power, except instead of doing it this way, you're doing it this way. All right? So you're leaning a little bit, and this is where the tippiness might come in. Out on the water, when you lean like this, you're going to feel the boat tilt to one side. All right? As long as you're not sitting on the edge when you do it, if you're in the middle of the seat and you lean, the boat is not going to tip over. All right? It may feel like it is, but it won't. Just make sure you're sitting in the middle of the seat. All right? So the draw, you lean out and then draw it back. All right? And the boat moves sideways that way. If both paddlers are doing it on the same side, the boat moves sideways. If bow paddler and stern paddler are doing it on opposite sides, the boat goes in a circle.
I remember this. The boat kind of does like crab walk sideways. It's tilty.
Yeah,
You're
it's
tilting, so it feels like the boat's kind of just like.
yeah, it really, crab walk is a good way to describe it.
That is so funny.
All right. And again, the pry and the draw are strokes that you'll use probably when you come up to a portage landing or when you're moving away from a portage landing. Sometimes you have to move far enough away to dig into the water with the paddle to get the canoe moving. So you may move sideways with a prior draw. All right, one more stroke. The sweep stroke, and this is the exception to the rule about holding the paddle vertically. With a sweep stroke, you are going to angle the paddle. A sweep stroke is a means to turn the canoe fast and hard. All right. So if you're going along and all of a sudden, not too far in front of you, you see a rock and it wasn't there just a minute ago, and you go rock ahead, and the stern may yell sweep left, then you're going to do a sweep stroke, which goes in like this. The paddle goes in half to 2/3. It's not all the way in the water like a regular stroke. But you're going to go in, and then you're going to go like this. Your whole body gets into it. And you're just going to sweep that like this, and it turns the boat in the direction that you're paddling. So if I sweep on the left-hand side, you go like that. If I sweep on the right-hand side, I'm going to go like this. And like I say, you don't use it often unless you need to turn hard and fast for some reason. Okay. I've said a couple times already, it's important to really communicate honestly with your paddling partner. If you're tired and you need a break, say so. If you need to switch sides, call hut. All right? Be honest and communicate. Understand that if you're the stern paddler, it can be really hard to hear the bow paddler speak to you unless the bow paddler turns and speaks over their shoulder. All right? So if you're in the bow and you need to communicate with the stern, remember to speak over your shoulder. As you're moving through, the air in the canoe, there's a little bit of wind blowing past you. If the bow just speaks like this, it gets lost. It really does. Very hard to hear the bow unless they turn when they speak. I've already mentioned that just a customary way to call to switch sides of the paddle that you're paddling on is just call hut. It's a Minnesota thing, but it works. So it's a good practice to do. Bow communications. All right. If you're a person in the bow, you might be calling hut. I want to switch. All right. Remember, complete the stroke, then do the switch. You might be calling stop or back because you've seen something in the water and you need to call attention to that. You might be saying rocks or tree, and then where it is, ahead, left, right. You might even want to point to it to make it real clear to the stern where the thing is. You may, as you're looking for like a portage or a way between a couple islands or something like that, you may need to let the stern know, hey, steer to the left, steer to the right. All right. Don't say bear left or bear right, because the stern might just put his paddle down and go, where? All right. Boom. And again, feel free when you get tired. Tell your paddling partner, "Hey, I need a break. Let's just pull paddles up and sit here and enjoy the beautiful scenery for a minute or two." All right. Stern communications. Again, you can call hut. Time to switch sides. The stern is the person who can call for a particular stroke, so that if you're coming up on a portage landing, the stern might say, "Hey, draw right," and so you'll do the draw stroke on the right hand side, or he may say, draw left or back, call for back strokes to slow you down or something like that. He may say slower or faster, because your cadence is either a little too slow for him or a little too fast. He needs more time to steer. It's very common for the stern to say, "Hey, can you see the portage yet?" To which the bow usually replies, "Get your map out and check." And then again, "I need a break. I'm tired. Let's pull paddles up and sit still for a minute or two." Interboat communications. All right, there's a few signals that you can do between boats to let people know what's going on. All right, one of them is this: holding the blade up in the air, motionless. What that means is, "Hey, can you come over here? I've got a question. I need something. It's not urgent, but I need you to come to me." All right? If I'm doing this, "Get over here quick. I need help." All right. If I do this, it means stop. All right. You know, I'm not paddling. You stop paddling too. All right. If I'm doing this or this, it means look where the blade is pointing. There's something there I want you to see, and I don't want to make noise and shout at you.
It's like if you see a moose.
Yeah. So if there's wildlife or something like that, the way to indicate it is get the paddle up,
Why would you say
blade
stop?
pointing
No.
at it.
Why would you say stop though? Wait, what was this?
This is stop.
Why would you say stop?
I don't know where I'm at. I want a consult.
Or Natalie.
But you said this one was to tell them to come over here, so why would you stop instead?
Natalie, think if
What's the difference between this and this? My question.
Well, this is not stop and don't go somewhere. This is come to me.
So is the other one I'm coming to you?
No, the other one is
This is
stop
just like
paddling.
everybody pause. I need to look at my map.
Yeah.
Don't
Right.
go ahead and lose
Don't
me. Just
spread out,
Wait,
get
wait a minute.
Ah, okay, got it.
Yeah.
This is just-
this is
wait a minute.
stop a minute.
Oh, okay.
You know,
I
I
got
need to
it.
get my bearings or something else like that. Okay. There's one other hand sign, right? And this one might be important for you to know on the trip. That is this. All right.
The monkey.
And this is either are you okay or I am okay. All right. So let's say that Natalie capsizes her canoe, scheduled for Tuesday, right? Natalie capsizes her canoe, and when she pops back up out of the water, the first thing she does is go like this, saying, I'm okay, I just need to get out of this lake.
Because there's leeches.
All right.
Oh my gosh.
All right. So, and the other thing you might do is okay, Natalie, if somebody has stopped and hasn't signaled,
Yeah.
all right, somebody in the other canoe might be looking at you going, are you okay? And if you're just lost or curious about something or whatever like that, then you respond, yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay.
Oh, okay.
All right? So, again, emergency, all right? There's something to see. Okay? I'm okay. Those are the most common ones you'll use.
I'm now okay.
I'm not okay.
Then don't make that sound. If I'm looking at you for some reason across the water, your canoe is stopped, and I'm going like this, and you don't give me the sign back, you're not okay. Something's wrong. I'm coming to you.
So you can, I mean, you just don't do that. If you're not okay, you can just say like no or something, but don't go like this.
Don't scratch
You're
your
not.
head.
Monkey move.
This is primarily a way of saying I am okay. So, you know, like I said, if somebody falls in the water, hey, I'm all right. Don't worry about me. It's all right. I'm just wet. You know, or a way to signal back to the other canoe. Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, I'm stopped. Yeah, but I'm okay. Don't worry about me. Any questions about anything we've gone over? All right. We need to move. Somebody wants to launch.
Here it is. Up here.
Can you move the paddles over there?
Yeah. Somebody's phone here.
Yeah, it's okay. Just pick it up and put it over.
Wallet.
Stick it in there.
Got everything.
Probably Andrew's, actually. There he is.
Let me hold on to you.
Okay.
The road.
We can come this way a little bit more out of the
Okay.
long grass.
That's fine.
Okay.